Showa is synonymous with the highest degree of hand protection and innovation. Pioneering revolutionary technology, Showa has forever changed and improved the industry, with over 1,800 gloves meticulously engineered for excellence. Down to every fiber, Showa's gloves are created better to perform better, unleashing new potential for hands at work. Gorbel has over 45 years of experience providing top-quality crane technology, ergonomic lifting, and fall protection solutions to increase safety and productivity. Gorbel's tethered track rigid rail fall arrest systems provide a reliable and cost-effective solution for reducing the risk of injury in elevated work environments, indoors or out. The company's wide range of solutions makes it easy and budget-friendly for you to keep your workers safe and productive. Check out Gorbel.com today. Core Cooler Rehab Chair, scientifically proven to lower your core temperature. Place arms into its patented water-filled armrests to cool down quickly and effectively. Hi, I'm Maureen Paraventi. Welcome to a thought leadership interview with Bob Lahey. Bob is president and CEO of the Construction Safety Council. Thanks for speaking with me, Bob.
Good to see you again, Maureen. Thank you for the opportunity.
Now, with hot weather on the way or already here, depending on where you live, we are going to focus this time around on heat-related illness. Bob, how serious is the problem of heat-related occupational illness in the construction industry?
Well, not only in the construction industry, it's for all workers, those who are outdoors, as you noted, with the change of the weather. It's going to be more prevalent in an outdoor work environment, but there also is that hidden indoor risk as well. There are many workers who work in industry in an indoor setting where as the temperature outside rises, so oftentimes too does the indoor temperature. Our focus as an organization is on the construction industry and keeping those workers safe. So in the outdoor environment, it is a big issue nationwide. Of course, it reaches different regions of the country at different times of the year. But all told, it is a big issue. We're talking over the last 30 years, there's an average of over 30 deaths every year in the country attributed to heat-related illness. And so those are 30 lives, 30 families, 30 networks, 30 businesses, literally impacting much more than that. But it's a significant issue, and the time is right to talk about it.
Are there some workers or classifications of workers who are more at risk than others?
I would say the construction industry is certainly one of those because the vast majority of their work does involve an outdoor environment. Landscapers come to mind. They're outdoors, of course. So any folks that are subjected to the environmental conditions are going to find this risk. And unfortunately, people don't oftentimes take it seriously until we reach those extreme heat indexes that we hear talked about in the weather forecast so often.
I'm also guessing that pre-existing health conditions may play a great factor in putting workers more at risk.
It does. There's certainly those who have a pre-existing condition will be more subject to the extremes in the weather. But I think it's also a mental issue that catches people by surprise, especially as we come out of the cooler weather months and then into the spring and summertime. People just aren't acclimated, and quite frankly, their bodies aren't acclimated. So it isn't just mental where you have to be aware. It also truly is a physical thing. The reason we have a heat stress problem in the first place is because our body is not cooling itself down using its own mechanisms. So if we're not thinking about it, we may not recognize the signs of heat stress. And then what we have to do is incorporate some very simple practices to help our body recover in the short term, and then typically carry on with our workday.
So workers do get acclimated to an extent to the heat over time?
They can, for sure. That is definitely a strategy for responding to the stress, but probably the simplest three things that workers and employers can do is one, hydrate. So it's water, water, and water, whether it's water or even a Powerade drink or something with an electrolyte supplement that will help the situation. Secondly, rest. If you find yourself dizzy, if you find yourself a little unclear in your thoughts, unclear in your actions, that's a sign of heat stress. So take the time, take a pause in your work day and your work schedule to rest. We're not talking about naps. We're just talking about something to just allow your body naturally to recover. And then thirdly, shade. Most of the heat stress related issues are because of the sun. So if we can get out of the sun, get that water, get that rest, and do it in a shaded environment, that will allow the body to naturally recover from the symptoms of heat stress.
And Bob, in the construction industry, do some employers resist the idea of giving workers rest because it's going to delay the completion of a project?
I think that's a risk, but I would say no, that generally speaking isn't a strategy or something that employers rely on, is just to get over it and to overcome it. You can't overcome it. Your body is reacting to the environment just like it would if it were cold. But everyone thinks that when it's sunny and nice out, there's fewer worries. Well, this is one of the hidden worries of the sun and the temperatures having an effect on us. So more and more the employers are recognizing this as a risk. The federal government is making it a high priority, and there is a campaign afoot currently to address the issue. Employers are getting on board with that, and they're recognizing it as a real risk that has some very simple solutions.
And you mentioned there's a campaign afoot. What does OSHA require employers to do to protect workers from heat-related illness?
Well, currently there does not exist a standard at the federal level. Last October, OSHA did announce the process, the beginning of a process for a new rule to be implemented, specifically dealing with heat stress and a heat standard. That process was announced in October of 21. That could take years, literally years, before a final rule ever comes out. The wheels of government and the wheels of rulemaking don't roll quickly. So absent a federal standard, there is currently the OSHA General Duty Clause, which certainly can be invoked and used by the federal government to hold employers accountable for providing a healthful, safe workplace for their workforce. So that is this clause, and that is the rule that is currently in place, and OSHA will use it as appropriate.
And is there a national emphasis program regarding heat illness and heat exposure?
There is. That was just announced this spring by the Biden administration, U.S. Labor Secretary Marty Walsh, Vice President Kamala Harris, recently announced that there is what is called an NEP, National Emphasis Program, which is a piggyback onto the rulemaking process that was announced last fall. So this alerts everybody, workers, employers, that this is a priority for this administration, that their enforcement team will be enabled to inspect on this issue specifically. And while there may not be a heat stress standard, employers will be held accountable for providing a heat stress program for their employees, just like they would any other safety related program for their employees.
Now, you've alluded to this already, but do you want to add any detail to what a heat-related illness prevention program should look like?
Yeah, the three things I think we talked about are easiest, and that's the water, rest, and shade. So you have to identify what the hazard is and then take some pretty straightforward steps to alleviate that, remove it, or at least react to it. Once you identify the hazard, those correction steps will solve most of the issues. Employee training. Employees need to understand what it is they're feeling. They need to be perhaps reminded, well, maybe not taught, but at least reminded to follow what their body is telling them. What might feel like just an inconvenience could be symptomatic of something more serious going on. And when you can't see it, of course, we tend not to give it as much serious attention. So the training that is being provided by the employer to the employees is critical. Supervisor level training so that supervisors can recognize what a problem looks like or sounds like in the workforce. And the simple steps by providing the water, increasing awareness, providing a shaded environment, that will go a long way towards taking that number, which is currently over 24 a year, deaths in this country, to much less than that. So it is entirely a situation that is real, but it also can be prevented.
I'm guessing that the training might also help overcome a certain psychological resistance. I think a lot of construction workers feel that they're pretty tough.
Well, I think everybody who works outdoors, right? There's a little bit of a badge of honor in being able to function well and succeed in your work environment and even in indoor environments. People want to succeed. We believe that there is an innate willingness and desire for the American workforce to do well in the work that it does. And so when you can't see the problem, you tend to discount it. And so, yes, there is a psychological approach and an awareness. A simple awareness level will go a long way.
And my last question for you, what should a supervisor do if a worker suffers a heat stroke or some other heat-related medical emergency while on the job?
Sure. Well, certainly, hopefully, there is some level of first aid or CPR training at that supervisory or even at the coworker level that can be brought in an immediate response. We provide first aid training. We provide CPR, AED related trainings because we believe that any support and assistance, aid that a coworker can lend on the spot is critically important. Secondly, dial 911. Get the professional help that might be needed or may not be needed, but err on the side of caution. So if you can administer some preliminary first aid steps, that is very important in the early response. Secondly, call 911. And all of these steps should be documented in your workplace safety program. And so not a lot of this are new ideas or new concepts. It's some of the same principles you would apply in any other safety or risk management control plan you would apply in response to the summer weather, the summer heat, which, as you said, we know it's coming. So we can certainly prepare for it. And it's a priority worth reminding ourselves that it's there. We can't see it, but we can certainly feel it.
Once again, I've been talking with Bob Lahey, President and CEO of the Construction Safety Council. Thank you, Bob.
Very welcome.
Now, the council offers, as Bob mentioned, a wide range of safety-related training courses for managers and employees in the construction industry. If you want to check it all out, just go to buildsafe.org. That's buildsafe.org. Thanks for watching.